and welcome to the first ever Ero F3 Grand Prix. We're starting here at the Hungarian Grand Prix as this season has started mid-season for Ero. F1 and F2 have already been going for 10 rounds already, and during this time we have gained enough drivers to begin F3. So it'll be a shorter season than normal, only consisting of 9 races, and it'll make each race more valuable for the drivers. In general, these drivers will be a lot more competitive against each other for each point, making this a very interesting league race. Just waiting for some of the drivers to join. We have 19 drivers in the lobby, still waiting on one. Right, let's get this thumbnail updated. If I can. Here we go. Pull chat up. Where's the thumbnail option? Jeez, lost it. Let's see how many people are in the lobby now. We have 19 drivers still, so only waiting on one person. The race, qualifying should start in about 3 minutes time. We're still using the 18-minute short qualifying format followed by the 50% race, so should be everything familiar there. God, I wish I knew how to change the thumbnail. Right, some of you guys coming in. 5 viewers at the moment. Some of the drivers readying up. Still 2 minutes to go, so I don't know why they're doing that. Who are we waiting on? Okay, ready up. Cool. So, Hungarian Grand Prix. Should be seeing some interesting racing here. It's very difficult to overtake, so a lot of opportunistic drivers will be looking to make some interesting moves. Session starting in 5 seconds time. The drivers will be getting ready for qualifying. I think the strategy here is going to be fairly similar for most of the drivers, trying to go for a one stop, but obviously might see some interesting ones, some different ones, so we'll have to wait and see. A lot of these drivers are fairly new to Ero. Some of them are previous reserves for the other tiers, and some of them have never done league racing before. So an interesting matchup of drivers, and we'll have to see how they race each other. Just waiting on two guys to get through. Come on. There we go. And what? That's not what this should be. Qualifying, there we go. Confused me for a second. And we're going to have to see who is going to be the first car to go out on track. And it looks like it's going to be one of the Renaults. Which one though? Or both of the Renaults, I guess. Here we go. So, Paolo, Lexa and Shade, the first three cars to come out on track. Oh, what's going on here? We have an overtake already. Lots of action in the pit lane. Looks like most people trying to get out as fast as possible. That's another thing, turn 4. You guys in the comments, I want to see your predictions for how many incidents are going to occur at turn 4. As the cars come through, heading towards the final sector. Nice one, Houseman. I agree with you there, I think. Maybe we should get a counter going or something. And the first person to start their lap looks like it's going to be Lexa. Comes down the straight, let's see what you can do. Ooh, someone's already left the session. It's V8 Junior has left the session, so he will be starting from the back of the grid. Unfortunate for him, unless obviously he can join back before qualifying is over. Already technical issues for some of the drivers, great. Oh, yellow flags down at the last sector. Looks like one of the Toro Rossos. Oh, and there's Lexa loses it through turn 5. Not a great start for them. Oh, that was a bit dangerous there. Ah, the 100-metre marker board's gone. Let's see who else is nearing the end of their lap. We've got one of the Renaults is round. Which one is it? Shade had a spin, but it looks like Paolo is coming to finish his lap. And he's set to 118.5 on the softs there. Next across the line will be Coco with a 116.8, and Luke, who obviously spun with not a great lap. Coming up to the line next should be the Force India of Tahiti. See how his lap's going. Looks like it might be a good lap. .117.4, that's decent. Good start. And we have Rafa who on the mediums sets a decent lap, and someone else just crossed the line and set a very good lap. I think it was Ahmed's who's crossing the line next. No, he's going into the pits. Sick. Is it Shade? No. Looks like Paolo's come around for another lap. No, he's going in the pits. And I'm assuming Luke will be going back into the pits. Yep. What about the two Williamses? No, they're going to start their laps. Oh no, they're going to finish their laps. And what will Chris do here? Nothing apparently. And Finlay setting a hard time, way off the pace, but I have a feeling he's backed out of that one because I don't think he's looking to start the hards. And Chris has spun. Where's he going? Where's he gone? He's seeing some aliens come around here. Interesting, very interesting. Okay. We have Dark coming to start his lap. Christopher has left the session, not surprised. I think Dark is the only one setting a flying lap at the moment. Shade's on his out lap, and the Red Bulls are on their out laps, as well as Finlay's on a fast lap, but is he coming into the pits? No. Okay. Obviously going for a second lap on the hards here. What's he going to set? A much better time. Very nice, as we have more people coming out of the pits on their laps. As we see Dark just coming through the middle sector here. How's his time looking? Comes round through the sector split, and it's 55.9. Okay, looking decent. Obviously on the softs as well. And he's going to come across the line to set a 118.9. So that puts him P11. So at the end of the first round of laps, 12 drivers have set their laps. In the order: Coco, Pricky, Ahmed, Tahiti, Fallen, Defac, Paolo, Rafa, Christian, Finlay, Dark and Luke. The rest of the drivers are yet to set a lap. As V8 Junior joins back, so should be able to participate in the rest of the qualifying. I believe Finlay went for another lap there. So he's on his out lap and he's slowing down at the last corner, obviously looking for that launch. Another driver on their out lap. Paolo's on a flyer, as is Shade. How's Shade's lap going to look? As he has no ERS as he goes to cross the line. Puts in P12, 2.8 seconds off the pace. Very interesting first half of the session there as we come into the last 10 minutes. One of the Mercs is looking to cross the line here, I believe to start his lap. See how it goes, his first sector is. Oh, someone was off. Looks like Fallen is going slowly, but he's gone back, and Coco improves his time to a 116.4 on the softs. Big improvements there. Well, not massive. An improvement there, as the Ferrari of Rafa has dropped it at the first turn. He'll obviously be looking to slow down and continue his lap. 15 drivers have now set their laps, as the two Red Bulls, Chris and V8 Junior, are the only ones left who haven't. We have Chris, Matt, who's just coming through the middle sector here in his first lap, and we have a spin. It looks like one of the Force Indias, and it's Lexa again in the same place. Another spin for Lexa. Interesting. We come back to the Red Bull, coming into the final sector now, looking like he had a good middle sector there. He crosses the line. It puts him P4, 8/10 off the pace on the medium tyre. That is an amazing lap. Oh, and we have Luke, who has spun in the middle sector. Interesting place to spin there. Haven't seen that before. He's going to get in the way of this Mercedes if he doesn't get out of the way. There we go. Yellow flags everywhere so far in qualifying. Hopefully the race can be a fair bit cleaner. Oh. Okay, so 3 drivers left to set their laps, as it looks like V8 Junior come to the end of his first sector, 27 seconds. Okay. Most of the drivers, I think, will be looking to come into the pits and get ready for their final laps. Interesting that a fair few of the drivers have gone with the softs here, maybe planning on a 2-stop, whereas 3 drivers have set their lap times on the hards, which could be a very interesting strategy if they decide to go with that as the fastest lap. He comes round the final couple of turns here. He's out of VRS though. How's this lap going to look? So 1:18.4, which puts him P9 on the softs. I'm sure he'll be looking for better from his final lap. And looks like drivers are thinking about coming out of the pits now. We have one of the Renaults, Shade, coming up to... oh, he's going into the pits. Oh no, he's not, it's his outlap. Very wide there. Starts his lap, and there's yellow flags in the middle sector, and V8 Junior is out. Who's coming up to that? Looks like the other Haas is nearby. Let's see what happened. And it looks like he's dropped it at turn 4. So that there is the first incident at turn 4 in this race. There's probably going to be a fair few more as this race continues. Unlucky for him, he's not having a good qualifying with first technical difficulties and now a spin that's resulted in him being out of the session. We have a yellow flag on the main straight. Looks like the Ferrari coming into the pits. Still 68 to go. Yeah, Houseman. Nice. 69. Watinho bets 15 people will finish today. I disagree. I think it will be a lot less than that, as another spin at turn 4 has happened, and it is the Toro Rosso of Luke. What's going on here? He's kept it out of the wall, luckily for him, but can't keep it on the track apparently. Ooh, could have been dangerous from the McLaren coming through there. as it looks like one of the Williams is coming to finish their lap on the soft tyre. Finlay coming through. Is he going to come into the pits? Yes, he is. 1/10 off the leader Coco so far. So looking like a very close race is ahead of us if these times are anything to go by. As the Renault peels into the pits behind him. Let's see what the McLaren is going to do. He's on his out lap, so you'd assume he'd start his lap, and it looks like Luke has spun again in the middle sector this time. Or is he just going slowly? Might have just been going slowly. See what DFAT can do as he starts his lap, goes up the main straight. Oh, and it's another spin for Luke. Has he got damage? Looks like he might. Oh, very close to him. So yeah, he's got damage. His right end plate is missing on his front wing. So he'll have to pit to replace that, and I don't think there's time for him to have another lap, so he will probably be starting 18th. Unless Safi can set a lap. And the Mercedes of Ahmed starts his lap as the Toro Rosso of Luke actually doesn't come into the pits. So he's going to try and set his lap with a damaged car, as everyone is coming out of the pits now, ready for their laps, and the other Toro Rosso. So not a good session for Toro Rosso. The other Toro Rosso is spun in the middle sector. Just check to see if there's any damage on that car. Doesn't look like it, so he should be safe to go for a run. And the McLaren now is going slowly. Is he just setting up for his lap, trying to create some space? I think that might be what he's doing. Crazy session so far. Everyone's all over the place. As Dark comes to finish his lap, he does not improve. How about DFAC? Also does not improve. Two Ferraris, line P9 and P10, they would hope to do better than that. As he comes to start his lap, and the Williams behind him starts his lap as well. How about the Mercedes? Mercedes of Ahmed goes up to P7 on the soft tyres and has time for one more lap, as there's another spin at turn 3 by the looks of it. Whoever it is has gotten going again. As Toro Rosso peels into the pits. Which one of these Red Bulls is it? It looks like Safi is coming to finish his lap. What's it going to be? He has a lot of ERS left as he sets his lap, and he's dead last. He does have time for one more lap though. As Alfa Romeo rounds the final turn. What's he going to do? He's going to stay where he is. Lots of people coming into the pits. As DFAT crosses the line and goes up into P9, and Fulham sets the fastest lap of the session with a 1:16.4 on the soft tyres. Very interesting. Oh, and we've had another spin at turn 4. Who is it? Is it Safi, and he's out? That's 2 incidents at turn 4 now. Two people have crashed out of qualifying at turn 4. Whew. Very interesting. And DFAC has retired. Is that? Yeah, he's in the pits. Someone going slowly out of turn 3. They're all scrambling for some space. They've all come out on the same bit of track by the looks of it. And someone's retired at the end of the first turn, which looks kind of dangerous if I'm being honest. Is that someone stopped on the entrance to the 4th turn? Yeah, they're all retiring. Really, they shouldn't be retiring on the track. It interrupts other people's laps. But we come to the end of qualifying, and Pricky sets the fastest lap, a 1:16.2 on the softs. So he is looking strong to start on pole position, unless Rafa can do anything about it. And how's Rafa's lap going as he comes into the final turns? Looking good. Very low on ERS though. And he's run out of ERS. Where's this lap going to put him? It's going to stay P10, slow down at the end there. And that's the grid set for the race. So we've already had 2 spins at turn 4, both resulting in a retirement. Actually 3 spins, 2 resulting in a retirement. So the grid will start with Pricky, followed by Coco, who is 2/100ths of a second behind, very close, followed by West, who was 8/10ths behind, and Fallen, who is 1.5 tenths behind. Finally, 5th place goes to Finlay, who was 3/10ths down on the soft tyres. The first medium runner we have is Matt, who is starting P8, followed by DFAC in P9. So a variety of strategies going on here, and we'll have to see how this is going to go in the race. I have a feeling most people starting outside the top 10 are going to opt for the medium tyres, maybe even the hards, as we wait for the players to load in so that we can get to the grid. So feel free to put your comments in the comment section with your predictions on what's going to happen during this race. If anyone's right, I guess they can have a shout out at the end, maybe. Don't know. Come on guys, nothing's going on in the comments section, say something. I'm going to take this opportunity to drink some water. Nice. Guess while we're waiting I can try and work out how to put this as we go for the formation lap. That was a very sudden cut. So anyone here going to try and win the formation lap? That is the question. Still can't work out how to put a thumbnail on. Great. I am not very smart. But there is one anyway. I guess that's cool. So the starting grid at the beginning of this race, it is Pricky, followed by Coco, West, Fallen, Finlay, Tahiti, Ahmed, Matt, DFAC, something was going on there, Rafa, Paolo, Chris, Christian, V8 Junior, Lexa, Dark, Shade, Luke and Safi will be starting from 19th place, which is last. 2 drivers have been disqualified from the formation lap already. Drivers are Chris and V8 Junior, who have obviously had some kind of a coming together. Interesting. Yes, we have F3 Papitar. It's finally got enough drivers to start a 3rd division. The top 10, good question, Houseman. Detail, tyre. So, P1 down to P7 are all on softs, 8 and 9 on mediums, 10 are on softs, and everyone starting P11 and downwards are starting on the mediums. So these soft runners look like they'll be at a disadvantage having to do a 2-stop, whereas these medium runners can do the 1-stop. We form up for the grid. Let's see all the cars coming towards the grid. And I believe that is the last person formed up and ready. And waiting on the lights. Still waiting on the lights. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And away we go for the first ever F3 Grand Prix. Looks like it's been a good start from Pricky, as we look like 4 wide in the background maybe. Ooh, and Coco has been spun there. Don't know who it was by though. Dark by the looks of it. So not a good start from those two. And Pricky looks like he's got a good start in the lead, and he's already starting to pull away from West. Rafa drops a couple of positions there, back down to P10, and we've had a spin, and it's V8 Junior who has spun. And Coco Racing has got a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Shade. And someone else had a 5-second time penalty there, I couldn't see who it was. As Rafa has spun at turn 5. He's come down and we have a virtual safety car. So, Chris has also got a 5-second penalty for a collision with Paolo. As Lexa drops down under the virtual safety car, interesting. So does Chris. What's happened there? He's cutting corners. He's going to get a penalty for that, surely. No? Interesting. Okay, so a very eventful start as Chris has gone straight on in the middle sector and hit the barrier, and Rafa cannot keep it on the track. Waiting on this virtual safety car to end as they does, and we have gone for the first, well hopefully, full lap of racing on lap 2. Rafa is still just entering the third sector, and we have 2 cars in the pits, who is Coco and V8 Junior, obviously to fix damage. Very eventful first lap there. Lots of interesting tactics, and we have West who has just hit the wall at the exit of turn 3 and is out of the session. Another yellow flag as Rafa enters the pits. I would not be surprised to see a safety car here, because that is quite a dangerous place to crash, but seeing as we just had, and we have a full course safety car. This will completely neutralise the race, and everyone will get bunched back up for some more action. As we have Lexa, who is facing the wrong way at turn 5 and has some front wing damage. And so at the end of the second lap, we only have 18 drivers remaining. Safety car comes in. Who is going to pit under the safety car? Not Pricky. Finlay will pit, I'm assuming, for some hard tyres. Fallen stayed out, Ahmed stayed out, Tahiti stayed out, Matt has come to the pits from his mediums. I don't know if that's as good a decision. Paolo stayed out, Defect stayed out, Christian stayed out, Shade stayed out, Lux stayed out, Dark stayed out. Lexa is coming in to fix that front wing damage, and I'm assuming V8 Junior will look to stay out, considering he just pitted. For the mediums, again, not sure if that's the best decision. Probably should have picked some hards, try and go long into the race, but you never know. Some more incidents could occur, and it could be an absolute genius decision, as we see Darky being lit back through by Finlay after going off at turn 1. So the order after the first 2 laps, as we sit here behind the safety car, is Pricky, Fallen, Ahmed, Tahiti, Paolo, Defac, Safi, who has had an amazing start from starting down in P19 to get up into P7. Keep your eyes on him, because he looks like he could be a fast move in this race as someone goes off. Looks like it was Shade. After Safi was Christian, Luke, Shade, Darky, Finlay, Matt, V8 Junior, Coco, Lexa and Rafa. Shade and Luke have swapped by the looks of it. Yeah, it's been a lot of crashing so far. So, how's the safety car restart going to go? We look like we're staying another lap behind the safety car. This will be really good for these soft tyre runners who will really be able to extend their stints and maybe even try and pull off a 1-stop. As Matt has a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits, and there's been an overtake for P3. Who's given... Oh, Tahiti's going into the pits. Very late decision to do that once the field is bunched up, as Ahmed also comes in. Let's follow them. Interesting. Looks like a very eventful race might be starting to shape up. they will drop to the back of the grid with the exception of Rafa, who is still 30 seconds behind. But this safety car gives him a great opportunity to come back and be with the rest of the field, so not too bad for him. Could be worse. The only drivers still left on their soft tyres is Pricky and Fallen. The coming laps we should be able to see whether this was a good decision or whether they've made a massive mistake by not pitting under the safety car. Feel free in the comments to let me know which one of the two you guys think that might be. As we have 8 viewers now. Welcome to the new people. This is a eventful start to the race. Is the safety car going to come in this lap? Yes it is! Okay, so we're getting ready to go back to racing. We'll have Pricky lead the field. Hopefully he won't brake check anyone, because we all know how annoying that is, as Paolo has collided with Fallen and received a 5-second time penalty, and Lexa has also made contact and received a penalty. Typical safety car behaviour then. Ooh. And it's all up. Oh, that's another 5-second penalty for Dark. It's all up to Pricky when he decides to go, which looks like it will be now, as he tries to get a great exit onto the straight, and he's already started to form a gap the second we've gone. So, green flags everywhere. Let's see what will happen with the first turn. Who's looking for a move? Paolo looks like he might be close enough. Not quite. We've got very close for Matt, who's looking to overtake Darky, but Finlay on the inside of him may end up being an issue, as V8 Junior has made an overtake on Darky, who's now fallen behind Coco as well, and might lose a place to Lexi into this next corner, and he has. 3 places lost off the start, and horrible start for Darky, especially with those penalties, but Coco's gone off! Coco has retired from the session at turn 3. Now, is that going to bring out another safety car? Doesn't look like it, but Finlay looks like he's getting close, as someone has made contact. And he's got going again, looks like the Force India. Can Finlay find a move through here somewhere? Can he get into the next turn? He's tucked right up behind him. Lining up a move. Decides not to go for it, he'll stay behind, probably until the main straight. Oh, no, he gets him. It looks like he was let by Luke there, as Lexa also gets past V8 Junior, and Ahmed made a move on the Ferrari. Fast lap of the race by Pricky, no surprise there. It's probably the first full lap of racing we've had. Safi gets very close to DFAC there. Is he going to look for a move? Probably not with the lagging, as V8 Junior re-overtakes Lexa. So a good battle shaping up between those two. And he looks like he's made it stick, so no opportunity for a counter-attack there from Lexa. Second, third and fourth are all looking very close, but Pricky's gotten away already. 2.5 seconds between him and the second place man Foley. Very good restart from Pricky, and he needs it, considering he needs to make that stop from the softs onto the hards, or mediums. And DFAC gets through Paolo with a bit of lag, but I'm sure he'll take it either way. Is Safi now going to go for a move on Paolo, having made it to P5, having started dead last, P19. Absolutely stunning drive from him so far. Is he going to look for a move as we go into the main straight? He's lining it up. Ooh, he's got a bit on the grass. That could hurt his exit a lot, as the Ferrari behind him is looking to get past him. As Fallen has entered the pits, so a big mistake from him not pitting under the safety car. And Safi just about manages to fend off the Ferrari, but touches the Renault of Paolo as he does it. Is he going to look for a move around the outside? Yes, he is. He's late on the brakes. Can he make it stick though? There's another yellow flag has occurred, and Finlay is out of the race, and we have another safety car. So what happened to him there? Looks like it's at turn 3, or turn 2 even. We'll see, hopefully on Fulham's point of view, what happened to him. He's hit the wall on the outside there and lost his rear tyre. Very interesting. And the race is neutralised once again, and 15 runners left in this race. So I think your prediction might be wrong here, Coutinho. This race in 7 laps has already dropped to 15 drivers. Action packed as the safety car is out for a second time in 7 laps. And Pricky is saved by the safety car. You might be right, but his lead will be cut. Is he going to come into the pits here? He does. He darts into the pits, the only person who's still on the soft tyre, and he's coming into the pits presumably for a set of hards, and DFAC will take the lead of this, well, inherit the lead of this race, and it looks like Pricky and Safi have also entered the pits. Let's see what tyre they're looking to go onto. It looks like it's the hards for Safi and the mediums for Pricky. Okay. As... where is he? So yeah, dropping way down into P12 for Safi there. Probably a good decision though. Okay, well let's see how this second safety car race will go. Hopefully it's a fair bit cleaner than the first. And Javier looks like he's given Finlay the commentator's curse for that one. Maybe shouldn't have said anything. So I feel like a lot of these runners that have pitted under the safety car may look to go to the end, but their tyres will be very, very warm by the end. DFAC with this nice lime green helmet there leading the way under the safety car. And the safety car will go around for another lap. So hopefully we can get back to racing at the end of lap 9, and a lot of lag going on there. So I guess I'll take this opportunity to ask you guys what you're thinking about this race. Make your predictions down below on who you think will win, because at this point it can be literally anywhere. God. And I'm sure DFAC is sat there wishing the safety car could go just a little bit faster. Tucked right up behind it there. I guess coming into lap 9 we have the second safety car as Matt receives a 5-second time penalty for track extending under the safety car. Very interesting. How's he managed that? So our leader at the moment is DFAC, followed by Paolo, Christian in 3rd, Shade in 4th, then Luke, V8 Junior, who has made a fairly impressive recovery from where he started, having lost his front wing on the first lap after a collision. Lexa, who's also looking good after the early collision. Pricky, who has just stopped onto some fresh mediums. Ahmed on the hards, Rafa on the hards, Matt and Safi, who's having an impressive race so far. Fulham, who has fallen very far down the order after qualifying well. Tahiti, followed by Dark in dead last. The retirees are Finlay, Coco, West and Chris. Safety car is in this lap, so the pace will now be dictated by DFAC, and he can choose to go when he likes. Hopefully a bit less brake checking than last time we were behind the safety car. Hopefully. We can see some cars trying to go side by side already. Can't race just yet. safety car is now in the pit lane, meaning that Defak can go whenever he wants. As Lexa gets a 5-second penalty for collision with Rafa, who's fallen down the order behind Matt, who's coming into the pits. So maybe some damage for him, as Christian is looking for an overtake on Paolo. Is he later on the brakes? He tries it. Oh, he's sideways. He's caught it. Okay, very nice there from Christian. Well caught, but that has meant that Defak has gotten the opportunity to get away. He's already extended his advantage to 1.5 seconds after just 2 corners from the safety car. Anyone else close? Pricky is looking very close to V8 Junior here. He might look for a move up into the next corner. However, V8 Junior is looking a bit too close to look for that. As Look goes wide, is that an opportunity? No, doesn't look like it. Look has fallen very far behind Shade as well. Not a good restart for him. And oh, we've had some contact. V8 Junior is round at the chicane. Very unlucky there, as he'll probably have to pit again to repair that damage on the Zen plate. Unfortunate. Safi also has been overtaken, and looks like he has damage too as he gets overtaken by Tahiti. So lots of action occurring on the safety car restart, and some winners and losers are starting to appear, as there's contact between the Force India there and the Alpha, but they've kept it in a straight line. The Alpha is looking for a move on Luke, as Pricky shoves him wide a bit. Is Luke going to try and get the slipstream in back down into turn 1? Looks like he might. He's pulling alongside. Is he going to be able to outbrake him? Oh, very close there. V8 Junior received another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Very unlucky for him. As Tahiti gets past Lexa, who's dropped 2 places, maybe a 3rd as we come in. He's got front wing damage, I'll explain it. He's dropped a 3rd position. Is he going to drop a 4th into this next turn? Hopefully not. He has. Action-packed restarts everywhere then. And Ahmed has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so that will probably be for track extending and corner cutting. Darky, who is not last, could have looked for a move maybe, decided against it, and these cars in the middle from P8 down to, oh, as Pricky gets past Shade, and Shade looks like he's spun. Yeah, he's in the wall, and we've had another spin from the Force India and the Ferrari of Rafa, which puts him down, and Shade, Tahiti and Rafa have fallen way down the order due to that incident there, and they've got damage as a virtual safety car comes out. Shade again, and Rafa has also got damage. So, don't know what's gone there, but Ahmed has got a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. Absolute carnage here at the Hungarian Grand Prix, as Luke pulls into the pits very slowly with his damage, and Lexa is also in the pits. Surprised that Tahiti stayed out with his, I guess he hasn't got any damage after that spin. He was lucky, and this will give an opportunity for Matt and V8 Junior to catch back up to the pack as the lights go green. All the people who have just stopped have gone on to the hard tyres, with the exception of Rafa and Shade, who are on the softs. Shade being held for a very long time, I assume due to penalties. Very unlucky for him as he drops down into dead last, and Luke comes out of the pit lane in P14. He's going very slowly out of the pit lane. What's going on here? The Sector 2 have fallen, is out of the session. What's happened to him at the beginning of the second sector, just after the chicane? Let's try and see if Matt can get a good view on what's going on here, as Darky loses positions to Safi and Tahiti. Safi looking very strong in this race. Yeah, he's dropped it on the inside on the exit of the chicane. Oof. That's very unlucky for him. He was having a very decent race. Safi is under attack from Tahiti here. Is he going to look for a move, as Ahmed has pulled into the pits for what I'm assuming is his last pit stop of the race. Side by side as they go down into turn 1. And Safi doesn't fight it very hard. He looks for the switch back into turn 2. Waiting for them to appear. Can he do it? not quite. And Matt sets the fastest lap of the race. So far in this race we have 14 drivers left, so Watinho's prediction is very wrong. He's lost his little bet that he's had. So, position changes. Defac has had an amazing start from P9 up into P1. Christian has also gained 11 positions, whilst Pricky has lost 2 and Ahmed has spun at turn 4. So that is our 4th driver to spin at turn 4 and our 3rd retirement at turn 4, bringing the virtual safety car out and our order down to 13 drivers. Very unlucky for him there. As I was saying, Pricky has lost 2 positions but is looking to gain them back. Dartahiti is up 2. Safi has had an outstanding race and he's up 14 from where he started, whilst Dark is up 10. Matt has gained 1, Lexa has gained 7, Rafa has gained 1, V8 Junior has gained 4, Paolo is where he started, Luke has gained 6 and Shade has gained 4, and the 6 drivers who are out of this race are Ahmed, Fallen, Finlay, Coco, West and Chris. Some 2 stoppers going on here, but some people are in the pits, and Safi has pitted a 2nd time in this race to get rid of those softs for to go on to the softs. So he's going to have to pit a 3rd time this race, unfortunately for him. This field's looking to start to spread out a bit here. No one's within that 1 second gap they need for DRS, meaning that there might be very little battling going on for the next few laps. A very wide spread of tyres being used in the field here. We have 5 drivers using the mediums, 5 using the hards and 3 using the softs. So let's see whose strategy is going to get them out on top. Fastest lap of the race so far belongs to Matt with a 1:20.2. He said that fairly recently, I believe. There's yes, 3 VSCs and 2 safety cars already, Houseman. Carnage. We'll be very lucky with 20 laps of this race to go, so we're not even halfway. We'll be very lucky if we can have a top 10 in this race. I'm sure we will. It's looking like Mabs or Shade might be closing up on Look here. Still 1.2 seconds behind, not close enough to gain DRS off the Toro Rosso driver yet. Let's see if we can get a better exit to the corner. He's very fast with that section. He's already up into 6/10, so he's getting very close. As Tahiti has gotten 6/10 of Pricky here. And maybe looking for a move as we come round the penultimate corner. Oh, that's a very slow exit from Pricky. I think he's gone round the outside of the last turn. That's amazing. But is he going to get the run onto the straight? He is, and he's going to have DRS, and I'm sure there'll be no problems from there. Rafa has dropped it in the middle sector after the chicane. And Safi has left the session. I'm assuming that's due to connectivity issues, but is he going to rejoin up safely? Looks like it. He's let Look and Shade through and not caused any further problems. Safi just set the fastest lap of the race, or as AI did, I guess, after leaving the session. Hopefully he can join back very quick to regain 7th in this race. So, crazy start to this race so far, as Shade is now 4/10 behind Luke coming onto this first straight. He's got DRS open and Luke goes defensive and is weaving a bit. I'm not sure if that's... ooh, that looked a bit dangerous, but he's gone for the dive bomb anyway and he's been spun. I don't know, from here that kind of looked like it might have been on Luke, if I'm being honest. That was interesting defensive techniques. Anyway, it doesn't hurt Shade too much as he stays very close behind Luke and might even look for something happening up into turn 4. Fallen has left the session. Oh, and there is driver number 5 to drop it at turn 4. Shade, the dirty air of Luke has, and that is not acceptable. I'm very sure he'll receive a penalty beginning next race for that. That is not how you retire from a session. So, Christian very close behind Defac here. A very close fight for the lead. 7 tenths separate them as the yellow flag zone is now cleared. And I'm sure this is the battle that will bring most attention to this race, because no one else is really close enough to make an impression on anyone else. I guess Pricky's fairly... no, Rafa is fairly close behind Luke still. Let's not even look, that's one of the Force Indias. So yeah, the only close battle, and Christian pulls into the pits to ruin our fun, as Lexi receives a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I would not be surprised if this race is decided on penalties. We probably won't be able to know who wins until at least the top 5 have crossed the line, and rain is starting to come down here. Rain. Ooh, that always makes the race interesting, just as Christian pits onto the hard tyres as well. Medium tyres, sorry, they looked white from where I was. So, maybe not the best time for him to pit there, which I'm sure benefits Defac a lot. Yeah, rain might make this chaotic race very much more chaotic. And it looks like Pricky is trying to close up on Christian, but doesn't quite have the grip through turn 3. You think Pricky's going to win? Maybe. You never know. To be completely honest with you, I think the whole field will have to finish, and we'll have to see who has what penalties, to be honest. I mean, how far is last place off the leader? A lap, but it's entirely possible someone could get a lap's worth of penalties, I guess. As Luke is the first one to react to the rain and has come into the pits. Is he going to go on to the intermediates? Or maybe even the wets? And it is the Inters going onto the Toro Rosso, so the first one to react to the rain has been Luke. Is this going to work out for him, or is it still too early? I have a feeling it may be a little bit too early, as he is not coming out of the pits very fast. Does he need to turn off his limiter? There we go, he's worked it out. Obviously forgot what button his limiter was. And Darky and Matt are both into the pits as it starts to really chuck it down on the main straight here, as Paolo makes a move on V8 Junior, who looks like he may have had a spin due to the weather. And everyone is coming to the pits now. So this should put everyone on the same strategy for the rest of the race, unless it magically dries up out of nowhere. It looks like everyone's going on to the Inters. Yeah, look at that. Oh, Luke has not had a good outlap, having cut the chicane there. Maybe the track isn't grippy enough on the wets, as Paolo is back behind. Don't worry, they're all just trading places in the pits. That was a long set of penalties there for V8 Junior, but at least now they're served, I guess, as our leader comes into the pits, obviously on the wrong part of the track to begin with for these conditions. As Tahiti follows him in, is he going to get held? No, very clean pit stop, and we have Darky off the track in the middle sector. After the chicane, again, seems to be the place where people are struggling, that chicane. More so than turn 4, which is surprising. And looks like everyone is now in the pits for the intermediate, so everyone is now on the right tyres in it if he's really tracking it down now. Not surprised at all by their decision. 21.8 seconds is the lead Defrac has got now. Can this man be caught and can he be beaten with 15 laps to go left in this race? It would take a fairly major mistake for that to happen, I think, but let's not curse him. Second place man Tahiti, all on his own as well, followed by Christian, who is 5 seconds behind Tahiti, and Ricky, who's a further 10 seconds behind him, and has Matt right up behind him. Let's see how this battle is going to pan out in the wet weather conditions. Hopefully, not with a crash. Oh, that's very wide there from Bricky. Is Matt going to take that as the opportunity he needs? Looks like he might. He backs out of it. Probably the right decision. Into the chicane we go. And they've kept it out of the wall, luckily. Our counter of the chicane is currently at 6, I believe, whilst turn 4 is currently at 5. So, very surprising that they're finding that chicane a lot harder than the fast left-hander of turn 4. Pricky is going very wide. He looks like he's struggling in these conditions. I don't think it would be very difficult for Matt to make a move once they get onto the main straight. You never know. The Alfa Romeo doesn't look like it's got as much confidence as the Red Bull behind it there. That is a very good exit though from the Alfa Romeo. Might be enough to save him as they go down the straight. 7 tenths is the gap. And into turn 1. It stays. It's about 8 tenths. So the Red Bull is unable to catch the Alfa Romeo despite looking like it has more grip. Yes, it is raining. Should be a good opportunity for drivers to save fuel in ERS though, as wet weather conditions don't use those things very much. And that's a 3-second time penalty from Pricky for cutting turn 4. Definitely a race that's going to be decided by penalties, isn't it? This is the only battle on track at the moment, which is why we're watching it. Even though not much has been going on. As Matt now rejoins the session, so should be speeding up now. Oh, look at that, instantly speeds up. He's going to make a move soon. Already closed the gap down to 2 tenths, having only been back in the lobby for 2 corners. Is he going to... Oh, looks like he got squeezed a bit there. Is there contact? Just about kept it clean by the looks of it. 3 tenths as they go into the last corner. Is he going to be able to make a move before the end of the straight? That's another very good exit from the Alfa Romeo ahead of him. He does look like he's struggling on traction with Red Bull. And Alfa goes defensive, Red Bull does not follow him. There's a 3-second time penalty for Look. Can he do anything into turn 2? No. Where is he going to... What is he going to have to do to make a move here? Is he just waiting for a mistake? He's using a lot of ERS. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move anytime soon if he doesn't find some kind of weakness in the Alfa Romeo driver, who is now 16.6 seconds behind the driver ahead. And V8 Junior overtakes his teammate Darky, who is in the pits again for the full wets. That's interesting. How many of the drivers are likely to follow him is the real question. He still comes out ahead of Luke and Rafa. We'll have to monitor his pace for the next few laps and see if that is the right decision to make. As we come through to the penultimate corner in this battle for P4. And the gap is larger than it was last time round, so it doesn't look like the Red Bull's going to be able to close up enough on the Alpha to make a move. Unless he has some kind of alien exit. It is a good exit actually, much better than the last couple of times, but he is out of ERS, which could be a big problem as he stays in overtake even through the first turn, which could be his issue, using too much ERS in the turns. And Rafa has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Not that it'll change much in his position. Oh, there's a yellow flag down at turn 4, and Darky, not turn 4, sorry, the final sector, is the issue. He has had a spin that has seemed like he's kept it out of the wall. He's gone very wide, and those wet tyres have not worked out for him. I fully expect him to come back into the pits for some inters. Not a good choice. And is Matt any closer as we come through into the final sector? He's using lower ERS modes and is losing time to the car ahead, so I don't think so. The car ahead though is very quick and catching Christian at about 1.5 seconds a lap, which could be interesting come the end of the race, as we now have 11 laps left in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Very interesting line there. Ooh, well killed. The gap is 6/10. Is it closing? Slightly, not enough though. Not enough for the Red Bull driver to be able to do anything about it. As we come into a very stale part of the race, but Lexa looks like closing up on Paolo a lot. So as we come in, is he going to be able to do something down the straight? Had a decent exit there, but it's fallen behind the car ahead. Doesn't look like they're using their ERS to its fullest potential. Oh, that goes off the track for good measure. Ten laps to go in this very wet Hungarian Grand Prix. Didn't start that way for anyone who's just joining, as one of the Red Bulls has made a mistake in the middle sector, and it's Matt as his teammate comes along. Ooh, very lucky that he ghosted there. That could have been a massive accident had he not ghosted, which puts safety up into P5. Bearing in mind this man started in P19. That is very impressive, and I'm sure he'll be happy with this result if he was to finish where he is now. Lexa is dropping off the back of Paolo, it looks like, as the field seems to be splitting into its small groups and isn't changing much, as really no one's catching anyone at this point, and that is Darky being lapped once again. Quick update on the race. Oh, it was V8 Junior being lapped, so a quick update on the race. So our leader is Defac, who has led ever since the second safety car came in, followed by Tahiti, who's made a very impressive start, up 4 places, followed by Christian, who's up 10 from where he started. Unfortunately for the pole sitter, he is now P4 and doesn't look like he's got the pace to make up the gap really. Safi, starting last, is now P5. Incredible race for him so far, as he saves it coming out of the right-hander. Matt is right on his tail, having lost it a couple of laps ago and been overtaken. Paolo is up 4 positions from where he started. Lexa is up 7 and is closing down the runner ahead of him. V8 Junior, in a world of his own, nowhere close to anyone else. He's up 5 from where he started, and tail end of the points we have a yellow flag at the exit of turn 1. It's Safi. No, it's not. but this is a close fight between the Red Bulls. Contact into the first turn. I wonder who they're going to blame for that, as Darky looks like he's just not anywhere in this race, if I'm being honest. 2 laps down, struggling a lot. Safety's lost a lot of time through the next couple of turns, so I don't know if he's going to be able to mount a challenge back anytime soon. Rafa, P10, exactly where he started, and is making gains on the car ahead very quickly, so let's see if in a few laps time he could be challenging for P9. Outside the points, the only drivers outside the points we have are Luke and Darky, who are both way off the pace. If I'm being honest, they are nowhere close to anyone else in this track, and it would take something huge to get them back in contention in this race. The closest gap on track is between the 2 Red Bulls, but Matt is looking considerably faster, and someone has gone straight on. It looks like it was Darky having another mistake. So far he's coming into the pits, he's got front wing damage, and he's going to probably take off those wet tyres and put on some inters like everyone else. Rafa having made 4 stops is the highest stop in this race, whereas Defak, his only stop was onto the inters, so he's had a very good race, making all the right strategic decisions, which really is why he's so far in front. And their inters do go on the Haas there, so not a great race for Dark, really. Fastest lap currently belongs to Safey with a 1:20.0, and at this point in the race I don't think there's much chance of that being beaten unless it dries up very fast. So 3-second time penalty for V8 Junior, multiple warnings. Don't know what corner he's cut to get that. Maybe he's extended the last turn, and we have a yellow flag at the last turn, as there is... Who stood still? Is it Luke? Luke has had a spin. Is he going to try and go backwards into the pit lane? That's going to get him disqualified, if I'm being honest. He's just about able to get into the pit lane. Into the pit to go, so maybe we can see a race late on between Luke and Dark. Maybe. Safety does look like he'll be taking home that extra point though for fastest lap, as the leader has lapped everyone up until P9, and this is a very long pit stop for a front wing change here for the Toro Rosso. Where's he going to come out in relation to Dark? Oh, they're both going to come out on the same bit of track, I think. Yeah, look at that. If he can work out where his pit limiter button is. As he finally does. Does he know that he can release it a lot earlier than that, or is he just making a mistake? And V8 Junior has lost the position, and he's been spun. What happened there? Looks like he got a tap from Rafa. Very interesting. Unlucky not to see that one a bit earlier. Would have liked to have known the full story there, but that does drop the Haas driver down into the final points playing position, P10. Oh, very close there. Lexa has caught up to Paula, finally. This has been very long time to catch up on the Renault driver, but he's finally made it with 6 laps to go in this race. Is he going to be able to do anything down the straight here? It doesn't look like it. The Renault does seem like it's had a better exit onto the main straight there, and a little bit wide from the racing point has meant that it won't be able to get the move done into turn 2. We'll stick along with this one though, just because it's the only race going on really. This is for P7, as Lexa has had a very good race to go up 7 positions from P15 where they started. Four stops by Rafa is still the highest, only tied with by Dark, and I don't expect anyone to be making any other stops in this race unless there is something major, which you never know, could happen. Let's see, dropping back a bit from here, the Renault, so maybe not going to be able to make a move onto the main straight. Doesn't seem like they're close enough really. You want to be within that half second going onto the straight, otherwise you've not got much chance of making any moves stick, any clean moves at least that is. See, gaining a little bit down the straight but not enough really. And ooh, that's another 3-second time penalty for Pricky, who is currently in P4, so doesn't look like it's going to be making that much of a difference at this point. 4 laps to go and the next car behind is 17 seconds down on him. I think there's a very good chance that this may be the best battle on track for the rest of the race. So let's see how it goes, as Lexa deciding to use all of the sausage on both parts of the chicane there, in comparison to Paolo, who avoided them very much. A lot more aggressive it looks like here from Lexa. A lot closer than they were last lap. 4/10 is the gap now. Let's see if they can do anything for the final turn to give them that opportunity down the straight. Very wide line coming in there. Let's see, are they going to be able to make a move down into the first corner? This is for 7th place. And no, they decide not to go for it. So they're going to stay behind for what seems like it'll be another lap, unless they can do something in the run down to turn 2. But they're just too far behind. So far, the Force India is managing to keep very close onto the back, but does cut the corner for a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately. Very close to the back of that Renault, which is quite difficult to do through all these corners with the dirty air, but doesn't look like it's struggling too much, and again, using the sausage curb on the chicane. Ooh, that's a mistake from the Renault. Could that be the opportunity that the Racing Point's looking for? Maybe not. After putting too much on the curb, that has cost a lot of time. They'll have to regroup over the next couple of laps and try and go for an attack. Maybe even on the final lap might be the best opportunity to strike. Very unfortunate. Although they are very close coming into this final turn, they have made the time back up. Half a second, will it be enough to make the move into turn 1? It really doesn't look like it. Not using very much ERS at all could be the issue. That's a big slide from the Renault driver. Can the Racing Point do anything about it? No. Has opted to stay behind through the next sequence of corners. Again, The Renault doesn't look very happy on these intermediate tyres and is making mistakes all over the track. Force India looking much more comfortable in these conditions, and it really shows by the way that it's able to just stay 2 tenths behind, which is ridiculously close in these cars without any problems at all. However, it does look like Pink car has had a bit of a bad exit through that sector. Doesn't look like it's cost them too much time though, as they stick right under the rear wing of that Renault. So, absolute carnage here at the first ever Ero F3 race. As we come through, we're looking to start, well, we're looking to come into the final couple of laps here, as Tahiti is closing down the leader, but it doesn't look like it's fast enough for the other Racing Point, as that is very late on the brakes and isn't going to help Lexa at all. Clearly much more comfortable. You can see by the lines and everything that it's just struggling way less than the car ahead of it. Let's see. Oh, and that's a big mistake from Paolo, and has gifted the position to Lexa. Is anything going to happen down the chicane? No, they've kept it clean for what seems like the first time in this race maybe. These intermediates are starting to wear a bit on some of these cars. It's 14 laps since they stopped for them. For most people anyway. There have been some who have had issues and had to stop again. And I'm fully expecting the Racing Point to pull away without too many issues here, as the Renault has already found itself a second and a half behind. Final couple of laps for the leader then. Well, the leader's actually about to round the final corner to start the final lap, but we do have some lapping going on here, as Dark is looking to be lapped for, let's see, the third time, which is not that great. Anyway. Ooh, looks like a bit of a slide there for the leader. And a bit of lag too. Interesting. Oh, yeah, we have yellow flags for the final corner, and who is it? It's Pricky. Is he now going to lose another position as Lexo gains a penalty for multiple warnings? It doesn't look like it. No one's close enough, but that really does kill his chances of getting P3 in this race, and I'm sure he will settle for P4 after the very disappointing race he's had today. Our leader coming through to start the final sector, and Dark received another 3-second time penalty, which again I doubt will make any difference whatsoever to his race. Well, maybe he is very close to the car head, and that is a very silly mistake from our leader. Is this going to gift the lead of the race to Tahiti? It is! And on the penultimate corner of the lap, Tahiti comes through to take the lead of the race. And he comes across the line. He crosses the line in first place. Now, is he going to stay there? Are penalties going to change this race? No. So Defect has finished second, even after penalties, and the Ferrari of Christian is looking to take P3 here, and I don't think penalties are going to change his position very much. No, he had none apparently, and Rafa finishes P9. As we see Pricky coming round the final corner, he's looking to claim P4. Our penalty is going to change that for him. Doesn't look like it, if I'm being honest. Matt is coming through the final corner now, looking to claim P5. And has a 5-second time penalty for an unserved penalty. Safi, however, is 27 seconds behind and is probably not going to make an impact at all. The final two in the top 10, Rafa and V8 Junior, have finished, and tail end of the point, they will probably be quite disappointed with that after the carnage that this race has been. Safi comes across the line in P6, and hits the wall for good measure, and Lexa comes through to take P7. This leaves Paolo in P8 as he loses the back end through the final corner, and that concludes our race with 12 out of 19 finishing. You right, Tim Mats? Yeah, you good? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Nice. I've just got to read out the final order. So Tahiti is your winner from today. Starting from 6th place on the grid, that's very good for him. Defac in 2nd, Christian in 3rd, Pricky 4th, Matt 5th, Safi finishing an amazing P6 having started P19, and Lexa finishing P7 after starting in P15. Very impressive from those two. Paolo in P8 after starting P11, Rafa P9, and your top 10 is rounded out by V8 Junior 82. Lots of penalties in that race, but to be fair, the people with big penalties served them in the pit stops. There were so many today, so probably not much of a factor in the end there. And we are looking to start F2 at 6 o'clock today, so make sure you check that out. And 6 o'clock tomorrow you will see F1 racing, so make sure you check those streams out and have a good day.